Hello everyone, my name is Andrea and welcome to Williams Wanderlust. I created this channel so that I could help all of you find better ways to travel and better ways to budget your travel. Before I started traveling a lot, I always thought that it was super expensive, something that you had to be rich to be able to do, and that is definitely not the case. You can travel on a budget, but one thing that I would tell you, and this is my biggest piece of advice, I won't tell you how to use your money while traveling or anything, but I will advise you not to go into debt to travel. You can travel on a budget. It's so much more stress-free when you know that it's paid for and you can just go and enjoy it, not wonder how you're going to get yourself out of this rut when you get home. So today, what I want to talk to you about is how to travel on a budget. And I'm just going to skim a bunch of things here. I will definitely make more videos in the future to go into detail about each thing, but today I just want to tell you kind of the gist of what my mind goes through as I'm planning a trip so that I can make it cheap. Number one, the first thing that I want to talk to you about is flights. This is my number one question: how do you get a cheap flight? And the first thing that I look up when I'm going to travel somewhere is, when is the off season? Because that's the biggest mistake people make, is going during the summers. And some people, that's the only time they can go, and I understand that. But even if you have to go during spring break or the summer, there are still days of the week that are so much cheaper than other days. And so it's smart to kind of look around, see what days are cheaper, see what seasons are cheaper. So that's usually the first step that I do. The second is sometimes I'll even check from other airports. Like when we planned our Europe trip, I was trying to figure out where the best place was to fly out of to go to Europe, because I fly out of Denver typically, and Denver's fairly cheap, but sometimes international can be a little pricier. So what I found is I actually flew to New York and then to London. And it cost maybe a little less than $100 more, but I got to go see another place. And so that was really cool because I was able to travel cheaper from New York. It ended up being the same price, but I got to add another place in. So sometimes if you're not worried about time, you can do that. You can look at other airports and add in another place that you haven't seen yet. A lot of budget-friendly airlines charge for baggage. And that's where they get you, because they charge like $30-40 each way per bag, and so it can get a little pricey. So what we did is we actually found some travel backpacks, like if you're going hiking in the mountains, those kind of backpacks, and we found that they work great for packing, and they actually count as a personal item. You can usually squeeze them into the little cubby that they have, and nobody has ever said anything about it being a problem to us. So that's what we use for like 5-day trips, or if we're going more than that, we'll just bring one suitcase. But another tip is that we always bring an extra bag. So usually just another backpack, we just shove right into the bag that we have so that we can bring that back with souvenirs and not have to pay for shipping or extra, or our bags being too much, because it costs more to pay for an overweight bag than it does to pay for an extra bag. But like I said, we usually use the backpacks that just count as a personal item. So we always bring our backpacks even if we have our suitcase, because if we can't fit stuff or we don't want to pack neatly because everything's dirty anyways, then we'll just chuck stuff in our backpack, personal item, it passes. So that's the number one thing that we do when it comes to baggage pricing. Number two, plan ahead. Plan ahead. I can't stress this enough. Plan ahead. Because if you plan a budget for your trip and calculate it out, usually I will look up a place and look up what's the average cost of food per day eating out. And then with that information, I'll calculate how much it'll cost for Josh and I each day that we're there, and I'll bring that money specifically for food. And do the same thing with souvenirs, because obviously we all want to bring something home from where we went. And so I plan, this may be a lot for some people, but I usually plan $100 per place that I'm going to, because some places might have really cool paintings that I want, and then some places I might just get a magnet. And so I usually plan an average of about $100 per place, because I'd rather come home with extra money than spend too much and come home wondering, holy crap, what happened to my bank account? Because that happens to a lot of us sometimes when we travel. The next thing is activities. Some people like to just go with the flow and find things as they go. I am a huge planner, and so I always plan ahead with the activities that we want to do. And one thing that most places have, even out of the country, is a city pass. And what this is it's a pass that gets you into multiple museums or activities, you know, a Ferris wheel or whatnot. And most cities have this, and you pay a certain amount, way less than you would individually for each of these activities. And it'll get you into all of them, and you can go at your own timing. So that's a very nice leisurely way to plan activities. I also look on Expedia and other avenues for different pricing and different tours, and sometimes you can find them there. Sometimes, especially on cruises, when you get off the boat, there will be people right there with signs saying, you know, you can go swim with the stingrays or go snorkeling, and their price is usually a lot cheaper than if you would have paid ahead through the cruise line, so to speak. The last thing that I usually use for activities is Groupon. It doesn't always have something for the places that I'm looking at, but often it does. And especially airport parking, it always has airport parking on there, and it's so much cheaper than if you just go and pay for it. So sometimes there's advantages to planning ahead, and sometimes there's advantages to just going with the flow, because you can find locals that'll show you around, give you tours and whatnot. Next is hotels. We all know that it's very hard to find good hotel prices. But what I've found in all of my research, planning all of the trips that I've planned, is usually you can find a decent hotel, 3-star hotel, for about $80 a night. So that's usually the price range that I look for, no matter where I'm looking, because it seems like that's about the average price that I can get anywhere. Now, some people want to live more luxuriously. Some people want to fly first class or stay in a 4 or 5-star hotel, and that's okay. But for the ones that want a budget, just know that that's going to be a little more expensive. And if that's what you want, then that's great. Another thing that I look at is Airbnb. If I have a big group of people, or even sometimes just Josh and I, we can find a super cheap Airbnb, but it is especially cheaper for big groups. And so that's a really nice one to look at, and the longer you stay, the cheaper it is. The last thing that I want to talk to you about is cruising. Josh's favorite way of travel is to cruise. He loves cruising. And that's because you get a little taste of each city. Cruising is so cheap. You would not believe the prices that you could pay to go on a cruise. And your food is included, your activities on the boat are included, and it's amazing. So if you're not sure about certain places, then go on a cruise, see a little bit of all of them, and then you can always go back later to that one specific place. I hope this video helped you guys. I have such a passion for researching all of this stuff, and I love to find the best deals. I will answer any of your questions. If there's something specific you guys want to talk about, I'm more than happy to do both a Facebook and an Instagram live, and you guys can ask all the questions you want. And then also I'll be making future videos to talk about each specific thing that we discussed today. Talk about how to find the best flight prices, or how to find the best hotels for get the best bang for your buck. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you like it. I will definitely be making at least one a week, so stay tuned. Bye!